It is the news segment, May 28th, 2021, coming at you live right after our interview we just did with the folks over at Michigan Brews. You can go check them out over on Facebook, at MI Brews on Facebook. Listen to their show. Great show over there. We appreciate them taking the time to join us, especially, we had a last minute cancellation, which happens when you deal with the restaurant industry. People like to quit on you. And when that happens, you're kind of screwed, and you just gotta deal with it, and that's perfectly fine. We understand. They will be back here probably about a month and a half, just because we are filling up our upcoming couple months with great interviews. Excited to be scheduling with the likes of Drecker, Abita. Um, I'm trying to think who else off the top of my head. I know we got Groundbreaker, which is a gluten-free beer that we're going to be interviewing, gluten-free brewery, I should say, that we'll be interviewing. We, of course, bringing back our favorite, probably most times on this show, guest Eric Brigham for Two Roots next week. I got to see their dealkalizer over at the production facility in Auburn Hills. Great.
Yeah, what was that like?
First of all, I had never been to the Auburn Hills Rochester Mills. I've only been to the downtown Rochester Hills Rochester Mills, and yeah, that was definitely crazy. And we'll be talking about a lot of numbers at the beginning of this episode. And if you're a numbers geek like me, you're going to want to check out the June 18th episode when we have Dr. Bart Watson. He is a doctor of economics. He works for the Brewers Association. So we're going to have him on to talk about all things beer and numbers. So if you're a number cruncher like myself and the 1988 Mac 2 game, um, I don't know. Nick, what are you drinking over there?
Still drinking my Harpoon IPA and my Dark Horse Plead the Fifth.
I'm trying to figure out, because I just have 6 open bottles of Bell's Amber next to me, which ones I've drank and which ones I haven't, in hopes it slows me down. Rob, what about you?
Well, during the second part of the interview, I was finishing up an Old Nation Pret, which is Old Nation's Belgian wheat ale. Just have somebody can.
Awesome. Before we get, well, let's play the little news thing real quick. Where is it? And three, two, one, go.
Here is Robert with the beer news.
Man, I love that. That was almost perfectly timed too with the music. Guys, if you're not listening or watching, you can check out the video over at youtube.com/Better on Draft, or of course BetterOnDraft.tv. We're live Fridays at 7 p.m. Rob's chugging. Was that the Pret you just chugged?
That was not the Pretz. That actually was the Shandy.
The
from
Shandy.
Old Nation, the German style lager with lemonade, which for my friends out there who love Lining Kugel Summer Shandy, you need to put that shit down and go get yourself some 4 packs of this.
Well, we got released the numbers for barrelage based on each brewery out there right now. Obviously, this is not a 100% accurate, just because there are a lot of intricacies that can be found. But going over, obviously, your number one and number two breweries within the state itself is Founders at 592,000 barrels, Bell's at 461,582. Your next set and pair is going to be New Holland at number three with 47,350. So they only do 10% of the production of what Bell's does. And then Shorts Brewing at number four with 41,476. What you will not see in this list, because we have not done our research yet, which we will be able to, is Perrin is not on this list because they were not broken out from Canarchy. So that is one number. But to finish out the top 10, Atwater, Old Nation, Oddside, Saugatuck, Griffin Claw, Keweenaw, and Black Rocks, I believe, makes the top 10. If not, that's the top 11. I can't count. But Keweenaw and above are all 10K and above production. Oddside had one of the best upwards years based on their production, and that is just we've heard mixed things, but for right now we believe that's just their beer number. These numbers are not supposed to include seltzer, cider, or anything like that, especially for self-reported, which all those numbers were self-reported except for Old Nation. Old Nation is based on their excise tax. there's a lot of intricacies when it goes to this, and we appreciate Bart Watson, who we'll be talking to in a couple weeks, for putting all this together so that you can kind of see. But as craft beer is down, I believe as a whole, either 5 to 7%, it is our job to help fix that this year by increasing these numbers, getting out there, drinking in moderation, obviously. Um,
I was gonna say, is it really our job? Because holy hell.
Oh, we've been doing our part, but if we were doing our part as we were doing back in like 2016 when we were doing this show, whew,
Mm,
we're
yeah.
we're a little slower these days. Um, but Rob, what's going on with the news? What do you got for me?
So going on with the news, I guess we'll go through a couple of these that I was kind of messing around with. There was one that was from last week that we get a chance to talk about. But this one comes out of Kansas, where they have a new measure that was signed into law last week that is making alcohol to go permanent. Originally, it was a temporary pandemic option, but now they have decided that cocktails to go is something that's been kept going from day to day. So they are going to start having that running permanently, which kind of made me think about what is going on here in Michigan and how we've made so many changes with the laws to accommodate being able to get cocktails and have beer delivery and everything that has helped the craft beverage industry in the state and keeping them around and keeping them alive. That I the last I checked, they haven't seen whether or not this was something that was truly going to be permanent here. So with some of the uh, breweries that have stopped doing things like delivery, like what was it about 2 weeks ago, where Austin Brothers stopped doing delivery on the weekends, and with that being gone, is this something where with our state, should we, if it hasn't been done already, make this stuff permanent?
Now we have the newest law within Michigan itself. There's actually two that are going through right now. A lot of people may have recalled the pocket veto that happened from Whitmer during the lame duck session at the end of 2020. Not to get into politics, if you just don't know, lame duck session just means the time between when a vote happened and when they take office. So, a lame duck, say for instance, Obama was a lame duck president in 2016 because he could not go back into office in 2017. He was out on 120. So that's what lame duck means. It's just the session between the vote and when they take office.
Right.
There's your political information of the day. So we have SB 141 to 144, which adjusted for mixed drinks being sold to go and increased, I believe, the alcohol content to 13.5 ounces with a 24-ounce can maximum. Um, great for the city or state itself, and we need more of those. Now, there is a potential tax loss when you're dealing with this because it's going to be different taxes between a mixed spirit drink or alcohol, but the amount of more that's going to be sold will make up for that tax loss, is what everyone is believing. So they think they're going to lose about 400,000 in taxes because of the tax rate of 48 cents to 30 cents per liter, but they think so many people are going to buy it that it'll match back up to where it was.
Right.
So we have that, as well as there is one more, which I believe Wenzel is someone who we interviewed last year, that allowed for wineries, breweries, and distilleries to open and operate an on-premise tasting room in the same location. Um, Weird fucking laws that we have here in the state, for sure. Um, but it would allow for a lot of people to not have to do barriers or separate walls or separate parcels. So that's Senate Bill 0049, which I believe they're expecting to get sold. That was, again, done by State Rep Wenzel and State Senator Lasada, Kim Lasada. and I believe that will assist a little bit more. Again, these laws, I think the hardship on the restaurant industry has allowed for these laws to be pushed a lot easier than going through regular governance within our state. I think that it's going to be a lot harder for them if they see the change as a good to go back, because there's no reason to go back unless you're losing money. That's the only reason to go back, is if you're losing money. Like, if you're doing this just to make it, good for the time, great. This isn't good for the time. This is good for now and the future. Um,
Right.
so I'm hoping to see more laws and rules for the next year, because we ain't out of this. As much as, and here's Dan. Dan would be in here talking about it too. We ain't out of the COVID mess with the restaurant industry. They got another year before we see the full. I think the full results of what happened. Now, my thoughts, and I'm waiting to find the episode where I said that we were going to lose half the breweries in the state and make a egg on my face um, response,
Yeah,
because holy
Uh-oh.
fuck,
we
if
didn't.
we lost less breweries in 2020 than we did in 2019. Now, that doesn't include maybe breweries that might not reopen. There is currently, according to the Michigan Beer Map, which is mibeermap.com, an app you can download on your iOS and Android. And guys, we just updated the app while we were live tonight, where you can search by days open. So if you're going to a city, say Traverse City, on a Monday or Tuesday, and you want to see what breweries are open, but a lot of
Like
breweries are
you are.
closed on Mondays. Yeah, I will be. I will be in Traverse City on Monday. Um, you'll be able to search for the brewery and the day open based on their Google days open. That's the best I could do. It's going to be updated once a week. So all the hours will be updated once a week. So that will be the longest lag time if they're updating their hours for summer, spring, fall, or winter hours. And we've also added a few more filters for those breweries who are closed, like a lot of UP breweries that are closed for the winter, or other breweries that might be closed due to seasonal, or the opportunity to do temporary closed, so that if there is a transfer over, like Lexington Brewing is transferring over from one brewery owner to another, we can put them kind of in a limbo where technically they're open, but they're not closed, because they're just kind of in transition. So we wanted to make sure to do that. But Nick, what do you think about those laws? Like, what do you think on my opinion?
Oh, well, let's talk. Well, let's talk about this article for a second, and then see how
Okay.
it translates to Michigan for a second. We gotta. I don't think we're like. I agree. We're not gonna find out the full effect of the pandemic, in for a little bit more longer. I feel. I mean, I just saw a commercial today for the very first time trying to get employees into their establishment. And it's a restaurant. It's frightening that we're going to see this stuff. Now, is it because the actual pandemic closed the restaurant? No, it's going to be people not working. It's going to close with the restaurant. So whatever it takes to get, more sales to generate if you're shortfall on staff, I think it makes sense to do, because who knows what's going to happen once we go full back to quote unquote normal, not the old normal or the we hate that word on the show, new normal. We don't know what it's going to look like, but we need to get past to get to that point to really truly understand how restaurants are going to start doing. And I think it would be in the best interest of, and again, this is not a political show, it'd be in the best interest of lawmakers and business owners to figure out new ways to keep businesses making sales. This is one way to do it. Now, will it translate? If done in Michigan, will it translate? I certainly hope so. I really, really hope so, because it's getting on my side of town. It's getting pretty frightening with the number of stores that are changing their hours because they can't find people to work, and it's like I call it a restaurant down the street from us. I call it 4 or 5 times. I'm like, okay, are they closed? Turns out they were open. I had to finally get a hold of them, and there was like no one there. I'm like, well, why aren't you answering your phone? Is it because you're, the one or two people that you do have working, they can't get to it because they're dealing with the 5 or 6 tables? I don't know what the answer is, but they need to figure out ways to generate some sales. If this generates sales, it makes sense to do and make it permanent, because it's probably going to generate even more once we go back to maybe what it used to be before March of last year. I don't know. I think it makes sense. I think we're transforming as an economy a little bit, thinking of new ways to generate some sales. Let's do it.
Let's keep it. I mean, I would like to see it kept, but there's a couple places that I have seen, like Valentine's out in Royal Oak, which is just, well, no, Valentine's is Ferndale, so that's
Yep.
just north of Detroit. That was doing cocktails to go, but they have, I think they have stopped. So I was kind of surprised, because they've got some good stuff, but it'd be good to see it, keep going. Ken, you had something?
I mean, I'm not gonna feel too sorry for a lot of these places that can't find people to work for them. Um, Either raise your
Yeah.
rates, or I have worked now, as a lot of people know, I used to work for Toast Point of Sale. I have worked in Seattle, where a lot of people like to bring up Seattle and the minimum wage over there. I have worked in hundreds of bars, restaurants, um, everything from coffee shops to strip clubs to country clubs. um, I have touched nearly every single part of the restaurant industry, and those who have paid the most have kept the employees the longest. Now, whatever we have created a society and a cultural, um, like the culture of restaurants, including wages, and this is no fault of anyone really. Like, this is just how became. And it took a pandemic for everyone to realize that it's not the right way to go. And I think that you're going to be able to get people to apply. Like, Nick, you were talking about this restaurant is looking for people to work. We're hiring at my current job, and we got about 400 to 500 applicants for each position.
God.
It's not because we're not even that big of a company. We're a small company of 40, but we're getting 10x applicants because, one, people know we pay well. Two, I'm going to be honest, we're part of the Quicken community, so therefore we have Quicken benefits.
Yeah,
You got
I
chicken
know.
money.
We got those Quicken benefits, which are really nice. But again,
I can attest to that. Yes.
but again, like, you can attest to it. When I was married, like, my ex worked at Quicken, and for a minute we thought about me being her partner on her insurance, because it was almost as expensive as us having our own separate insurance. That's how cheap it was.
Yep.
Is to do that plus one and still be just a bit more expensive than both of us having our own insurance.
Yep.
So, like, again, though, we're getting applicants and people are getting applicants. Barcade over in Detroit's hiring a GM for 6 figures.
Yeah.
And
Really?
not everyone can afford 6 figures, and not every position is worth 6 figures. But if you're looking for, there's a reason why a lot of places. I saw B Nectar today losing one of their employees after almost 5 years, going somewhere else. You get that kind of commitment because they don't have tipped wages over there. They pay everyone. So that's, again, that's, you're gonna get into, like, the whole me and tipped and all that stuff, the restaurant industry, and I don't want to go
Yeah, yeah.
too far.
Tap
But
that down.
but but
And
it,
I would
but
love to go for that
again,
barcade one. 'Cause
I
yeah, I would too, because I mean, my current position is not a
hey,
guarantee
I
right
hope
now.
someone
So
listening to this right now goes over. I believe it's on Indeed, which you can find it. I'm pretty sure we showed it on our Facebook, which is facebook.com better on draft.
Mhm.
You can go over there and apply, and you know what's gonna happen? You know who's gonna get 1,000 applicants? That job.
That
yeah,
job, that job for sure. And there was a comment from Tito in the chat, which of course everyone can chat with us on in Facebook at Better on Draft, or log in on there. But he said that Cedar Point will be closed on Tuesdays and Wednesdays due to the
Yeah.
lack for the need of employees.
Yep,
So
I saw that. I saw that article. I was I
that's
was shocked.
That one
that's pretty
surprised me a little bit because usually they have employees where they pay room and board for people to live out there for the season.
I
right.
mean, as many people that go into that park, that's something that they should. So
That's
that way they can get that regular,
right.
staff rotation and all that. I mean that's a
Mhm.
seasonal job at at best at Cedar Point.
Right.
But
Well,
that's a day that is probably desired to go because not that many people go. Now you're cutting staff.
yep.
So
I used to do when I used to go to Kings Island with my dad. We would drive down there on Tuesday, and we would have 2-day passes. But if you paid like $5, you got in after 6 the day before the 2-day passes. So we would drive down there. Tuesday we'd go at 6 p.m. and that's when we would do the rides that we'd want to do where it would never be a long line so that we could focus on the long line rides on Wednesday and Thursday.
oh, nice,
Oh, well done.
very 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 good.
All right, so there's another one which kind of goes in a little bit of the opposite direction that I saw that was coming out of Chicago, and I'm sure ABI was probably not be very happy about this one, but Chicago Mayor Lightfoot, she is looking at permanently banning Chicago stores from selling beer, wine, and other alcoholic drinks after 10 p.m.
Oh,
The move, which actually she had made the move. She had
wow.
made the She had made instituted the ban back in April, where it was 9 o'clock or 9 p.m. To prevent residents from gathering outside during during the pandemic. And stores still were staying open until 1, 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. But now she's kind of trying to make this push where even as we're potentially entering in the final phase of kind of a reopening plan, that she wants to make it permanent where you cannot buy alcoholic beverages from stores after 10 o'clock.
Is she trying
Now
to get people to the bar?
then that's the thing, is that it would potentially push people to start going to the brew pubs and the breweries and the bars, because the alcohol is still going to be able to be served there. And I can't remember what Chicago's laws are for the bars being open, because I can't remember if it's 2 a.m. or 4 a.m., but they still get to serve and serve until close. But this would just specifically be going at the stores selling packaged goods that they cannot sell after 10 o'clock. If something like this does pass, it is probably going to be looked at from a lot of major cities to really see what happens with Chicago, of such a huge metropolitan area that's there, that Chicago can't sell alcohol in stores after 10. So I'm kind of curious. Nick, you were already wowing on
What really? I'm looking at the article on the Sun Times right now, and what's shocking is that not only is Mayor Lightfoot pushing for this, this thing is co-sponsored already by 4 aldermen of the city of Chicago. So it's got some backing behind it already from how city of Chicago does their ordinance passing. It's definitely no Ypsilanti Harper Woods city manager running the show kind of deal. I mean, this is the mayor is running the show, is basically the head honcho in a city like Chicago, but already having co-sponsors already that's kind of frightening. And I really like to read the 94 page. It's 94 pages, mind you, that they're proposing it.
I'm just curious of the pushback, because I mean, from the national stores of your WalMarts to even the local to like Jewel Osco, and it's just
7-Eleven.
7-Eleven are out there.
So looking further, the president and CEO of the Illinois Retail Merchants Association, his name is Rob Carr. This ordinance that the city's trying to pass or trying to push is sending a quote unquote contradictory message, seemingly treated store owners as second class license holders.
That goes, I mean, for what she is, and the thing is what she is trying to do is that she is trying to find ways to stop crime.
And,
And
and that was going to be the next thing is that there's, and again, this we're just going off of, we're just reporting the news here. There's no data that supports that buying beer and liquor from a party store or a liquor store in Chicago contributes to crime. That's what that's what they claim. I mean,
right.
I mean, does this stuff happen in party stores in Michigan? Yeah, it does. Do we hear about it on the news? Yeah, we do. But is it necessarily the first, second, or third story on the news? No, it's probably like the 10th or 11th, buried behind. We make something up.
There's absolutely no reason to have this unless it's literally to try to push people to restaurants, to try to push restaurant business, because obviously those who have been benefiting from the pandemic have been your liquor stores, your beer stores, your party stores. I just I don't I don't understand the why. Like
I don't understand the push other than
especially
crime.
9 or 10 a.m. or 10 p.m.
10 p.m.
That's
Yeah.
pretty early. Like if you were to say midnight, I'd be a little more lenient. It's 2 a.m. by the way in Chicago, not 4. Um, unless
Okay.
Chicago has its own rules, that's the state of Illinois is 2 a.m. They didn't make any mention of the
Right.
city
Okay.
itself.
Yeah, I
Um,
didn't.
but there is no reason for you to go into uh like just I don't know. I just can't figure out in my head. Like the first thing when you said that, the first thing I thought of is, oh, she's trying to push people to get into restaurants and bars. But like she didn't say that. And it just seems like too much, and it just doesn't
It's no, this is going to be a very, very interesting conversation and dialogue
something's
between,
missing and we don't know it yet.
between business owners and the aldermans of the districts of Chicago. Um, one owner actually says, and I quote, "The city has much more problems than a liquor store being open until 1 or 2 a.m. Crime is all over, and she wants to focus on this matter." I mean, you could say that about any major American city that, you're going to have crime regardless of wherever it's at. You turn on channels 2, 4, and 7, yes, there's crime. But is it mostly at a liquor store? Not really.
And I think a lot of, and it's just like what you're saying with the businesses, that a lot of them felt that from another article that when it went to 9 p.m. that this was due to the pandemic, and just they had the thought that hours are going to be restored once the city starts to reopen and people are allowed to gather. But here we are where they want to change it to 10 o'clock. And one of the things that was mentioned in I guess in this whole 94-page shy biz strong proposal, it's aiming to what they say, provide much needed financial relief to thousands of businesses, cut red tape across numerous city processes, and deliver new protections for workers and consumers. Now, it sounds like they're trying to help the bars and the brew pubs, but without actually saying it out specifically, like where who's getting these protections? Like, that's what I'm trying to figure out. So I I hope that is the actual the intent with helping out the restaurant business and the brew pubs to get more people out there to enjoy alcohol, and therefore getting more employees and building a stronger city economy with workers. But it's kind of tough to see in that putting it a ban at 10 p.m. It's like what you said, Ken. It's that if it was midnight, I'd get it. If it was 11, it'd be like okay, but it's like 10. you start to get into that area where it's just like people may have just already been going out to dinner and figure, hey, you know what? Let's go back to the house. Let's go to the store, go grab a couple cases of some Natty Light and go hang out at the house.
Natty
Or I
Light,
worked I
my
worked
God.
second shift and I don't want to go to the bar, but I want to have a beer or two at home while I catch ESPN highlights. So I'm gonna go to 7-Eleven and not be able to drink. No, that's
I,
that's just a little too early for me.
I mean, we're back when I was in college, we were getting the keg right before 10 o'clock, so that way when the doors open at 10 o'clock, the keg was there, it was ready, and we're usually getting one extra keg after that at around 11:30, 12 o'clock. Ken knows.
Yeah, I've been
I
on a
mean,
few of those trips.
yeah, you've been on a few of those. Yes, you have been on a few of those trips.
We don't we don't
Marcus,
we don't have enough frat brothers here. Ken, can you go with
no,
someone and get the keg for us?
yeah, because they're
All
all like
right.
100 pounds soaking wet. They're
Um,
all smaller guys, with the
Rob,
exception of like a couple of them.
Rob, I want to take over for the last news article because there is something that I know our editor in chief wants to get off his chest, and I will help him
Oh,
get it off his chest.
oh, jeez.
And that involves the cancellation of the Summer Beer Festival in
Oh,
2020. Now,
oh.
none
You
of
mean
us
2021?
2021 yet. I mean, it
Yeah.
was canceled in 2020 as
It was
well.
canceled last year, but now it's canceled this year.
So the Guild executive director Scott Graham has stated as an alternative to the July event, they're hoping to develop two smaller festivals, August 14th and August 28th. Here is my problem with that. Nick, are you ready?
I am ready for it. Lay it down.
Problem number one. August 14th just happens to be Taste of the Midwest, which is one of the biggest Midwest beer festivals in the area. Sure, it is in Wisconsin, but still a huge beer festival, nonetheless, where a lot of Michigan breweries go to throw their beer down and have a party. August 28th is probably the biggest beer festival in the state that isn't a Brewers Guild festival, right up there with World Expo. I don't know who is bigger, but this one obviously has the biggest of musical guests because it's the Burning Foot Beer Festival, which you could see a lot of music guests as well as Mustard Plug, because I just assume they're there every year because it's Michigan.
Mustard plug. Oh my
Come on.
God.
So I think the next big guild festival might be either the UP Fest in September or the Fall Fest in Detroit in October. But what is your guys' opinion on scheduling these smaller festivals when there are other festivals going on? Because the Brewers Guild has a lot of sway and they have a lot of beer and a lot of breweries and a lot of money.
I think it's that they don't care. I mean, I think it's that they are putting these suckers together to figure out who can have the bigger crowd and flaunt that shit for next year.
Yeah.
You think they did it maliciously?
I mean, if you're trying to get a whole bunch of people to come out to your festival and you put a bunch of festivals back to back to back to back, I mean, eventually there's going to be a diminishing marginal return of going out to festivals.
It's gonna be a
But
burnout.
right,
You're gonna
so
get
it's
burned
just
out.
like, hey, why don't we schedule Lollapalooza, Coachella, and Bonnaroo in the same fucking weekend, and let's
Let's
see
put-
who gets the most people.
and let's throw South by Southwest there in the Fire Festival.
There you go.
Fire Festival.
I don't. I mean, I don't want to think that it's done maliciously. I really don't. But when you're getting to a period where people are just starting to be able to get out and do something, I mean, there is, I guess, that other possibility that summer doesn't last very long. I mean, hell, if you're in Michigan, pretty much summer was 2 days ago, and then we're gonna run into construction season, which we're already in. We'll
Oh,
have
yeah,
we'll have another fall summer, and then the leaves will start falling. Everybody's trying to get their shit in and be able to get their event in as quick as possible, and maybe it's just that they don't really pay attention or really care about anyone else's schedule and just say this is the best time for us. If August 14th is the best for us and it's the same as the best for somebody else, then oh well, we'll see who shows up for who and go for that, go from there. So yeah, I just I really would hate to think that it was maliciously done, but there is also the fact that we just don't have a whole lot of time. And you start to get into September, you're in a school season. There's a lot of us beer drinkers that have kids. And when we're dealing with kids, we don't want to fucking go anywhere after that. So I don't know.
And the other thing too, before I'll let you go and then we'll finish up the night. But the UP Beer Festival would be scheduled for September 11th, which is 2 weeks after the second festival. So it would be like back to back to back if they were to do the UP Fest too.
It's just too much.
It's
It's
too
just
much.
too much.
People are gonna. You're now forcing people to pick and choose between the
Well,
festivals.
you're not just forcing people; you're forcing breweries to pick and choose.
That
between these
too.
festivals.
Yeah. So so what do you want? So what do you want? What do you want? You obviously want to get the bigger breweries. By getting the bigger breweries, the more popular ones, you're going to get the people because Charlotte Street's going to be there. Everyone's going to go where Charlotte Street goes, because that's what they do. They just
And it's not like freaking Tiger Woods where a tournament is paying his appearance fees. They're spending this money themselves to go to these places.
Yeah, right. I,
So,
I think it's shitty that they're doing it. People are gonna pick whatever festival that they want to go to. They might go to. They're gonna probably. Here's my thought. They're probably gonna go to Burning Foot because it's already an established festival. You can hear my dog, right? Yeah. He doesn't have his bark collar on apparently. It's already an established festival. There's gonna be music. It has a reputation. You put two small little festivals in between that don't necessarily have the reputation yet, other than the Michigan Brewers Guild backing behind it. People will be like, oh, I don't know. It's like Midwest Media Expo. That had Yomacon's backing on it. So Yomacon. So for those that are not in southeastern Michigan and are anime fans, Yomacon is what they market as a Asian pop culture festival. Really, it's anime and video games. Let's just be real.
pretty much.
Shortly after they had Yomacon 1 year, they came out with Midwest Media Expo, which is supposed to be for everything else that's pop culture, comics, video games, Star Wars, Star Trek, shit like that. It didn't have the big turnout, and you knew because they had it at the same venue. It doesn't have that reputation. I think that's going to be the same case here with Burning Foot and all that. Excuse me, I got to go yell at my dog real quick.
Well, I think that's going to do it. Better on Draft. This is the news segment 528. Join us live Friday, 7 p.m. for our interview, followed by our news. We're going to play a quick King of the Hill after this, so that's going to do it. Thank you for listening. No matter what you think of your beer, we think it's better on draft. Have a good night.